From the Fans Talk Podcast family at fanstalkpodcast.com, this is episode 23 of Fans Talk Lucha and covers Lucha Underground Season 1, episode 33, which aired on June 24th, 2015. My name is Garvin, and with us, as always, is my wife. Say hello, wife.
Hello, wife.
Now, if you enjoyed this episode and you want to hear more, you can find us at fanstalklucha.com. And if you really like this episode, please consider spreading the word and subscribing through Patreon. Patreon is our way letting you guys have the ability to fund the show, basically. So instead of, having ads on the show, having sponsors come and take over the show, instead you guys can filter a few dollars our way every month, and it just shows your appreciation for what we're doing. All right, so let's go ahead and talk about what happened this week on Lucha Underground. I guess we should start off with just a simple question. Was it as, I don't know if lame is the right word, or boring, or just like strangely not as entertaining as we're used to as last week was? Last week, we were both kind of on it, just because it was one long match and there weren't really any other stories going on. This week, just bird's eye view. Did you think it was a much better show?
I thought it was about equal.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
It could have used more segment.
Yeah, it was pretty short on segments, but we did have three matches. The style was a little bit different as far as how they introduced matches, or at least introduced the participants of the matches. So let's just get into the line items of tonight. First of all, it was announced at the very top of the show that Ultima Lucha will have another match. It's a match between Mundo and El Patron. I wrote Puma, but it is actually El Patron. And it's just a revenge match, a grudge match for everything that they've put themselves through, or put each other through, over the last few weeks. Still no date of when Ultima Lucha will take place, but there was a lot of implications that it's going to be potentially the final event of this season. The season ends there's only 39 episodes as part of this season. We are on, whatever I said in the intro. Was it 33?
Yeah, and if that's true, then that means that that's the episode for a drinking game. So if anyone out there has suggestions...
Yes, just don't tell Vampiro, because he gets kind of weird on Twitter when you talk about drinking. Just saying. All right, so anyways, Sexy Star versus Superfly. It was announced Sexy Star was introduced, but before Superfly could be introduced, they instead cut to a backstage segment between Vampiro and Superfly. It was an interview between the two. So, again, this is what I meant by the way that they began matches. This is, I think pretty much every match this, tonight had something similar like this happen, where they would announce the match. It would be as if it's about to start, and then all of a sudden they cut to something else happening. So, but Superfly interviewed by Vampiro. Basically, he was explaining why he went after Sexy Star the way he did. And, it wasn't necessarily because, he lost the match that caused him to, lose his mask, but instead it was, because he feels that Sexy Star stole the mask from him, and because of that, he wanted her to feel the same pain that he did, which is Pentagon broke Superfly's arm. He wanted Pentagon to break Sexy Star's arm.
He whined like a little baby through this whole interview. I mean, here's a guy who knew the terms of the match when he entered it, complaining that Sexy Star could have just walked away. Not that he could have walked away, but that Sexy Star should have walked away.
Yeah.
So that's...
She could have, though.
She could have, but so could he. He entered a contract. He knew the terms.
True that. Yeah, I don't know. It didn't really do much for me.
It set him up as a guy that you're supposed to not like.
Yeah, and which, as we transition back into the temple and back into the ring, Superfly is getting booed like crazy. Now he's got the one side that is, painted. One side of his face that's painted. The other side is completely, clean. And what do you think about this match? Superfly versus Sexy Star. Superfly won with a sit-out powerbomb.
I think that they looked pretty evenly matched throughout. I'm happy that he won. I think we were getting to the point with Sexy Star where she was becoming a Mary Sue.
Yeah, and I think that was,
and
that was something that is brought up quite frequently in the YouTube comments. I think people are starting to get tired that she is pushed as hard as she is. I mean, she is winning like big matches. She's defeating guys like Pentagon Jr. Pentagon Jr. right before that was one of the top stars in the company. So yeah.
It's just a little more realistic that she lost this.
Sure. And I don't know though, if I agree, I think how she's been pushed has been fine. I think she's done well in the matches themselves. So yeah, I'm not too against it. It's just that they really haven't developed the character, like as far as where she started from to where she now. It's almost as if they dropped like everything in the beginning and now she's just a fighter, which is okay. I mean, that's fine.
Yeah, but that gets boring.
Yeah.
We need a little more. And I'd like to see a little darkness out of her.
Yeah.
At the end of the match, she did try to steal her mask, which was kind of uncalled for.
Yeah, I thought it was a good match overall, though. I was pretty happy with it. Again, I thought she did very well. Superfly was okay. Mm-hmm. Superfly wearing some pants that he probably shouldn't have been.
Yeah, sometimes when you're wearing a medium gray and you sweat, and that sweat is coming from your gentleman parts, you should rethink your choice of pants.
Yeah, definitely heavy on the ass sweat look.
We've all been there. I bet he hadn't tested those out, and he'll probably be embarrassed when he sees it.
Yeah. Because, you know, when you first see it, it's hard to tell, like, did he sit on something? Or did something, like, really bad happen in the middle of this match?
I'm glad I'm not the only one who was distracted, because after a while, it was all I could see.
Yeah. So, don't do that.
We've all been there. Yeah. It's okay.
All right. So, after the match, we cut to it was a workout montage with nunchucks set to dubstep. Starring Drago.
It's pretty sweet.
Yeah. I thought it looked kind of cool. Cheesy, you know.
I
feel like I like this better than the James Bond / Kill Bill montage that they were giving,
Black Lotus?
Black Lotus. I think this was much better done, but I didn't understand, like, why do we need this from Drago? Drago's never going to use nunchucks in a match, right?
Well, they had been kind of low on the cheese level the last few episodes, and one of the things that first drew me to the show was the high schmaltz. So I'm glad they brought some of that back. You know, you should be able to enjoy it and laugh at it a little.
Yeah, I don't know. It was okay. The dubstep I thought worked pretty well, but again, it was just the nunchucks, like. Have him do something. Now have him prepare for the match in the way that he's actually going to compete, that sort of thing. That's what I would have preferred that.
You mean like you would have liked to see him putting on his dragon makeup and his sparkly pants?
Yeah. Are his pants sparkly?
They were sparkly.
I thought they were.
We'll talk about
black.
this later.
Okay. All right. Spoilers, I guess. All right. So the next matchup is a match for a medallion. It was Pentagon Jr. versus Cage versus the Mac versus Marty the Moth and Aerostar. Pentagon Jr. is announced. He comes to the ring, takes the mic, calls out Vampiro because Vampiro basically stopped him from breaking Sexy Star's arm. So kind of like the continuation that we thought we were going to get, you know, last week or the week before, where you know, he basically is calling Vampiro to come into the ring and fight him, kind of thing. What did you think about that segment itself? Well,
as soon as Vampiro stood up and I saw he was in jeans again, I knew it wasn't going to happen. Because let's face it, no one likes to wrestle in jeans. Unless you're Alberto Patron. In which case, that's your jam. And Hernandez.
Yeah. I don't know how I feel about it. I mean, I'm interested in what Vampiro can do, and it seems like the crowd is really into the idea of Vampiro fighting. there's this weird dynamic happening, and I don't know if you've noticed this, but it seems like the crowd has a hard time backing just one guy. But everyone is like unanimous, so it's like a unanimous backing of Sierra Miedo and Pentagon Jr. Then Vampiro stands up and everyone's backing Vampiro. And as soon as they break it up, they're back to cheering Pentagon Jr.
Well, this isn't a live show, right?
Oh, it is live.
But, I mean, they might have some kind of prompt.
Okay, I'm sorry. It's not live, but I mean, you know, the reactions that we're getting is what the live crowd is giving.
For all we know, they've got people in the audience who are designated cheerers, or maybe they have some kind of sign.
No.
Well, they do it in baseball in Japan.
Yeah. Potentially,
It's TV,
I guess.
It's entertainment.
Sure. I get that. But it's just weird that it's not 50-50. You know, it's weird that the fans are basically positive for just about everyone tonight except for Superfly so far.
Yeah, I did notice a lot of that going on. Yeah. It's nice.
Yeah. So anyways, Ref broke up Vampiro and Pentagon before they could go to an actual fight. Vampiro went back to the table and kind of just sat there, you know, sulking angrily that, you know, he's got like this story where he's fighting with himself and whether or not he actually wants to get back into the ring. He's fighting those demons of whether he should be involved or stay in commentary.
Maybe he's going to work this up until the very last episode.
Yeah, potentially. I mean, I can easily see Pentagon Jr. versus Vampiro.
That would be a great match.
At the Ultima Lucha event. I think that'd be great.
The day we see him in track pants is the day we know it's going to happen.
But again, this match was introduced. You had one guy come out and then it cut to this segment and then Pentagon Jr. was gone. Yeah,
that was kind of weird. They kind of whisked him off.
Yeah, he just walked away and didn't participate in the match. I mean, he did say on the mic that he wasn't there to fight for a medallion. He was there to to take out the guy who stopped him from being able to give his master the ultimate sacrifice. The ultimate sacrifice, for whatever reason, is Sexy Star, and Vampiro stopped it. So I guess he didn't want the match. But it was just odd. It was just odd how that was set up. But Cage versus Mac versus Marty the Moth versus Aerostar. Aerostar won, which now means that of the 7 medallions, Phoenix, Jack Evans, and now Aerostar have won. Thoughts on this match? Were you surprised Aerostar won?
I was surprised Aerostar won. I think this was my favorite match of the night. I know he's cheesy, but I love a good gimmicky character, and I love Marty the Moth. I love his little moth wing thing he does and his dancing, and I love the way he's grinning the entire time. There is a guy who is getting joy out of what he's doing. He's delightful to watch.
He's just so unorthodox.
He is. He's doing moves that I'm pretty sure aren't wrestling moves.
His body just moves in strange ways. It's just kind of like awkward almost.
Well, he's like a normal guy wearing wrestling clothes. He doesn't have a wrestler's body, but I enjoy him. I think he's great. Mac is fantastic. He always surprises me. I really wanted Mac to win in watching this.
I want to see Mac do something cool, like maybe fight for a secondary title or maybe even fight for the main title. I definitely think he deserves to be in that category just because he's so over with the crowd. And he's just fantastic in the ring.
Yeah, I was surprised by Aerostar's win, not because he's not a good wrestler, but because for a large portion of the match, he was very passively letting Cage toss him around.
All right, so backstage, team fight. They were having a workout session. Obviously some infighting between Ivelisse and Son of Havoc. Then Katrina interrupted. She summoned the Skellingtons with some kind of weird electricity.
Static electricity.
And next thing you knew, team fight was on the ground and she was walking away with Mil Muertes.
I kind of like the idea that the Skellingtons are her puppets.
Yeah, I like that too. I don't know if I like the little CGI effect that we got this week with the electricity like running through them.
Yeah, that was a little ridiculous. But again, we had sort of a shortage of ridiculousness. And so this fits in with the dubstep scene.
I'm just trying to remember when they first debuted and they went after Phoenix backstage. I felt like it was just like a lot of smoke, maybe like red lights potentially.
It was more stage effect.
Yeah. And I like that better. I like that better than, static electricity.
I think they might have been able to achieve a similar effect with maybe some strobe lights instead of the CGI thing.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I think it's just that they don't have to go to that level to tell the story that they're trying to tell. It just seemed like beneath Lucha Underground,
It made me laugh, though.
Yeah.
In the middle of just some weirdness, it made me laugh.
Yeah. So, but that does make it seem like, I think they are called the Disciples of Death, so the Skellingtons are going to go after the Trios Championships, which is something we had talked about when we were going through our predictions a few weeks back. So that does look like it's the direction, which is pretty cool. So your main event, Drago versus Mil Muertes, and the winner main events Ultima Lucha facing Puma for the title. Before the match started, though, of course, we had another interruption, and this time it was Hernandez taking out Drago, and beating him with a belt.
It was uncalled for. I just don't like Hernandez. I don't like the pimp walk thing he does. I don't like the way he wears his bandana over his eyes like Daredevil, and I really don't like his duck face. He's not a 16-year-old girl on Instagram. There's no need for that.
Yeah, the duck face could go away, for sure. I agree with
don't know
that.
how he maintains the duck face while he's beating someone with a belt.
It takes practice, I'm sure.
He must be practicing it.
Yeah, I didn't really like this, but obviously this will step up a feud for Hernandez versus Drago in the future. Maybe.
I think maybe I'm just prejudiced against people who wear street clothes in the ring. I don't like it. It's kind of cocky. It's like, I'm character enough. I don't need to put in effort. Look at me in the jeans I wear to clean out my garage.
Well, but it's not like he's wrestling in that. I don't remember what Hernandez wears wrestling.
Something black.
Maybe it's black jean shorts?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know either. He's not really on my radar, except I know I don't like him.
Whatever. So yeah, Drago was fine though. He said he wanted to have the match versus Mil, and lost. So Mil Muertes is now your number one contender and your challenger at Ultima Lucha for the Lucha Underground Championship. The show ended with Puma and Conan standing at the top of the stairway, staring down at Mil. What do you think about this match? Not Drago versus Mil Muertes, but Mil Muertes versus Puma for the title. Do you think, and again, I have to go back to listen to what my prediction questions were, but I think this is one of them, which is, will Mil Muertes be the guy that takes the title off of Puma? Now that Mil is in this spot, and we know he's going to get that title match, you said at the time, no, that Mil Muertes would not take the title. Do you still feel that way?
Well, now that he's got kind of a gang behind him, I don't know how I feel about it. They've been pushing this new storyline pretty hard. Also, Puma's been holding the title for a while, and at some point, logically, it would make sense that it would change hands. So I'm kind of torn. I could see Mil taking the title.
So you're more open to it, but not sold?
Yes.
Okay. I'm sold. I think Mil Muertes is the next champion.
I think that Conan's going to ultimately become a big thorn in Puma's side. You saw Puma was coming down the stairs, and Conan held him back with that cane. Well,
he was walking too fast. Conan can't walk that fast.
No, not anymore.
So you had to stop him with the cane. Otherwise, he would have stopped him with his hand. But that's Puma wanting to fight whoever is challenging him for the title.
And Conan holding him back. It's symbolic, yeah.
Oh man, I don't. But it's also goes hand in hand with the idea of choosing your battles and not throwing your not making it known what your true intentions are, kind of thing. So I can see that it falls right in line with everything else Conan's been preaching. Okay. Well, that was this week. I'm kind of surprised you thought this was at the same level as last week, but because maybe it was just me. I mean, I was pretty down on last week. I just wasn't into it. I thought you were the same. Maybe not. Was it?
But see, the thing is, last week I went with my expectations super low, so I was pleasantly surprised. That's the secret to being happy in life.
True. Especially in wrestling life. Yeah, go in with low expectations, and yeah.
Yeah, you'll always be happy.
So, I thought it was a good show. I thought everything about it was pretty good. I mean, the odd way that they started every match was a little, it threw me off a bit, but everything else, I thought the matches themselves were good.
I'm glad it wasn't just an entire show full of one match, because I just don't have the stamina for that. Even though it was much better than I expected it to be, that's hard to watch.
Yeah. But we got more continuation of the Vampiro versus Pentagon Jr. stuff, Sexy Star in a match versus Superfly, so that part of it also continued. Then obviously they really built up that, the main event scene with Mil Muertes. I feel like Mil is the first guy that has been built in a way that really makes him like the most credible challenger I think Puma has faced yet.
Well, they're taking their time and doing it, right?
Yeah. And then we got the medallion story, whatever that is.
Conan was full grandpa this episode. We only saw him for a few seconds, but man, you knew he was wearing orthopedic shoes. The hat, the cane. He looked like Fat Homer Simpson. Remember when Fat Homer Simpson gets the Fat Man hat?
He reminds me yes, I do remember that, but he reminds me of an old guy that is on one of those really short par golf courses in Florida.
Yeah, I could see it. Oh, he definitely looks like he's going to go to Florida and wait to die. Even Aerostar kind of stood out amongst all the other costumes in their match. Everyone else was kind of in variations of simple black clothing with colors, and Aerostar was in the most flamboyant costume I think I've seen him in ever. So just a little weird.
I feel like that was what Aerostar wore last time, the blue and the red.
It might have been. He's got a few fancy costumes, and I like them, but when you're putting together a performance, those things kind of need to work together.
Yeah. All right, so with that said, my fail is going to go to the fact that we just really don't know what Ultima Lucha is. It sounds like it could be, a pay-per-view, or it could just be the final episode of season 1. Or who knows? I mean, it's just, there's just not a lot of information out there. I'm sorry. There's not a lot of information promoted on TV, and that's really all we're watching. We're not reading anything. We're avoiding the internet as much as we can. So, I just wish we knew more about it. Like, what is it? It seems like it's a big event, but is it? Is it really a big event? Is it going to be maybe a 2-hour special or what? Like, what are we supposed to expect?
How much wine do I need to buy?
Yeah. I mean, come on. All right. Final thoughts?
Done.
Yeah, I felt like this was a huge improvement overall because of just the wide array of stories that were being told. I like that style of Lucha Underground versus the one single story being told like we had last week. Thought this was a huge improvement. So, and really I like pretty much everything they're doing. So, more of that. But that's all the time we have for this edition of Fans Talk Lucha. But the conversation doesn't have to stop here. You can join us on YouTube as we continue the conversation with you. You can also find us on Twitter, Facebook, Google+, and Instagram. All of those links available on fanstalklucha.com. See you next week.